It was really interesting to read the article from A Nation at Hope talking about the 6 recommendations of how to successfully integrate social emotional skills along with academic skills. And it was especially interesting to read this as a current educator with also a future career in mind. So, just to go over the 6 recommendations, the first one is about setting a clear vision that broadens the definition of student success to prioritize the whole child, the entire child. And what contributes to this success is school, work, and life. So really thinking about those 3 areas of are what we teaching them contributing to all 3 areas of their lives. This addresses vocational strategies such as budgeting, talking about the adult workforce supports, basic life skills, maybe even as simple as, doing laundry, filling out job applications. This also develops and measures ways to track progress across school, but not only across school, but also outside of the school setting. And it really focuses on improvements and not on rewards or incentives. So on how they're going to better themselves as a whole, not I'm going to do this because I'm going to earn this in the long run. And then thinking about how this can be integrated into my educational field is I was really thinking about there needs to be a point made about having professional developments dedicated to this topic and maybe hiring a social emotional learning expert to come in and speak about the social, emotional, and academic development of students and how we can best prepare for them. And specifically in my future career, I really would like to have my own nonprofit where it really caters to those marginalized communities that are not offered typical resources, such as parenting classes and all of that. And so this could be an area where I could maybe be the trainer that goes into schools and says, hey, before your school year starts, here are the things we really want to focus on. And so in this first recommendation, those are some ways that it can be integrated. The second recommendation that A Nation at Hope says is to transform learning settings so that they are safe and supportive for all young people. This focuses on building structures that support relationships and school-wide culture. So some examples of this would be having advisory groups or class meetings or morning meetings, support groups within the school setting. Clubs is a great way to do this. It highlights interests. This encourages student voices, affirms their cultural backgrounds or of diverse students. It also focuses on ending punitive disciplinary strategies, and it brings in the community as an asset. So thinking about this second recommendation and the integration of how it can be integrated into what I'm currently doing is we have the Harkness table method, which is just a big round table that we sit at, and it's student-led and teacher-guided. This is an area where they can be seen, they can be heard in a very safe environment because as teacher guided, we can intervene and kind of redirect them if it goes a little bit crazy. But we can also extend that further into using that time as a planning place as well for students to maybe create a diversity week or school events that really contribute to their diverse backgrounds. We can also really think about our disciplinary actions and maybe create committees within our faculty to really develop equitable policies. We currently have, I'm part of a committee of disciplinary, school-wide discipline committee to think about the best way we can really integrate discipline in a way that is fair for everybody. And that's a great way to be that second idea to be integrated. The third recommendation that A Nation at Hope gives is a change in instruction to teach social, emotional, and cognitive skills and how to embed these specific skills in academics and in school-wide practices. So explicitly teaching social, emotional, and cognitive skills and integrating them into the curriculum we are already teaching, which goes into the academic instruction, and then using a broader range of assessments as well. One way there's an integration that can be made into my place of work right now is our school can possibly look into social emotional learning curriculum programs and maybe fundraise for that curriculum program to be used in our classrooms. Another option is each academic cohort, so the math cohort, the English cohort, the history cohort, can all get together weekly and think about all the subjects they teach and strategize how to best implement these social, emotional, and cognitive skills and how they can be integrated into what they're teaching. For example, in math, teaching a budgeting lesson, how to balance a checkbook, skills that are not typically taught in schools these days. In English, which is one of my cohorts, talking about job applications, interview skills, which also works on that communication, the body language. There are various ways that these can be integrated into where I currently work as well as future careers. The fourth recommendation is building that adult expertise in child development, redesigning educator preparation so that all graduates have an understanding and expertise in child development, creating decision-making structures that are collaborative, prioritizing social, emotional, and cognitive skills and competencies in the recruitment process. This is really interesting because a lot of teaching programs do not prepare you for the social, emotional, behavior management aspect of what a classroom is. Hence why so many educators are just now learning about social, emotional skills and what that means. So I'm thinking about my current position and how we can integrate it into our school. And I'm thinking it could possibly be part of an onboarding process with new faculty, is that the school can offer them or give them a list of various child development courses and or have them attend a certain amount of trainings, whether it's a webinar or an in-person training. And the school could offer these for them as part of their onboarding process. The school would pay for it or find free webinars. They're all over there specifically on the child development piece so that before they're fully coming on into their position, they are aware of what they're on track to what everybody else is learning as well. A Nation at Hope also gives a fifth recommendation, which is about aligning resources and leveraging partners within the community to address the whole child. And this focuses on building partnerships with families and engaging them with youth in discussions about resources they have around them. Funds dedicating positions in schools and districts, providing access to quality after school and summer school programs, using data to identify and address the gaps in student learning that schools are seeing. One way that my current educational setting could integrate this recommendation into our program is maybe our school could have a community representative whose goal is to start building those relationships in the community, whether it's with youth centers, whether it's with nonprofit organizations in the areas, whether it's with other school programs. They can ask for volunteers to come in and speak to parents, guardians, and youth about all of these skills and all of the resources that are available. Maybe having an executive functioning night so that someone can come in and say, hey, here's what your child's brain is doing. Here's what we need to do to support it. The school itself could have an after-school program and summer school program where the educators they hire for those programs go through the exact same interview and onboarding process as the typical school teachers throughout the year. And maybe they have to attend the same webinars and everything. So that's just one way that it could possibly be integrated into where I currently work and in my future career. And lastly, the sixth recommendation is about forging closer connections between research and practice, creating new research practice partnerships, using data and evidence to build and strengthen partnerships, building new tools past the normal research journals and articles that provide guidance for educators. So really focusing on, besides these research articles, how else can we really connect the research on social, emotional, and academic and cognitive skills and how it's being practiced in the classroom. So thinking about an integration that my school could currently do was challenging because it feels like this needs a lot of funding. However, what could possibly happen now is sending educators to various trainings where they can meet other educators to learn from and bond with as well. Also, maybe creating 2 weeks of professional development rather than just 1 week, which was typically what teachers get. And one of these weeks out of the 2 weeks is strictly dedicated to research, trainings, and collaboration. But instead of teachers just going through research articles, maybe it's finding one of the authors of those research articles to come in and really summarize it and talk to us directly about it. So those are the 6 recommendations from A Nation at Hope about social, emotional, and academic skills and well-being, and as well as the ways that in my current position, all of these can be integrated.